guys, how are y'all doing? Well, I wanted to talk a little bit about like things I've been through because in the past, I don't know, 7 years or less than 7 years, somewhere in that range, is when I started finding out about that, I was fraudulently adopted and that wasn't my real family, and just that my whole life was a lie. I grew up very strict religious and very Bible thumper family. Okay? And I grew up in a very, very abusive home. It'd make Mommy Dearest look like a lullaby. Yeah. Or the sweetest person ever. I don't think you really, really can grasp what it was like. It's like growing up in a satanic house of hell. Just very horrific. And it's hard to tell people this because it's like so far away from me now. If I can make that make sense, it's just when you've healed from it, it's different because you're not suffering that pain anymore because you've healed from it, which means you can go through all kinds of things and still heal from it, when you, how can I put this? When you end up somewhere that you don't belong, somewhere like dark, and you don't understand like how you got there, what happened, why you can't get out. Okay? This is for everyone that has ever felt that. Okay? You can get out of it. You can heal. And do you know and realize that those that have been through the most have like really, really, large, destinies, large, purpose. So you have to look at things differently. And we've been in a world that has taught us the opposite way, the inverted way. And they've not told us everything. We've been kept from a lot of things. So you may hear things and be, no, that's not true. It's hard for the mind to accept when you've been lied to your whole life. It takes time, for it to absorb and to realize what the real truth is. Okay? And that can be triggering for people, right? I had to go through a lot to learn all the twists and turns and lies and things that people hid in the family, and generational curses, hexes, any of that kind of stuff, anything, someone in the family could have done this, could have done that, or whatever the case is, and then it's put, stuff on the whole family. Whatever the case is, whatever stage that you're at, I want people to know you can come to God, you can come to Source, whatever your specific name is, but come to the higher power, okay? And ask for help. You will be helped, you will be guided, and you will make it through, okay? Without this guidance, there's just no way to do this. Anything that you need help with, but there's steps that you have to go through. There's healing certain things that you need to heal so that you're able to, to hear, to be like a radio that's tuned into a frequency so that you hear what you need to hear and be able to convey what it is you need to convey. If you're praying from pain, okay, that doesn't work. You've got to be praying from love. And in order to pray from love, you've got to heal your heart, which is healing your heart chakra. When it comes to your chakras, you need to start healing, though, at the root. It's like being out of balance and out of whack, and you're not balanced where you can walk upright, right? If you have chakras that may be working, but they're up higher, or, whatever, you've got to get that foundation, the root chakra, first. And because our pain is stored. A lot of it is stored like in our hips and our pelvis area. So you really want to start there and work on, all of them all the way up. You can have back pain, all that stuff from chakras not being healed. You can have heart pain from your chakra not being healed, so on and so forth. Wherever you have an ailment, but you need to start with the root chakra, okay? It's important. And work your way up. Eat the colors of the corresponding chakra, okay? Get out in nature, disconnect from electronics and devices and stuff like that. This stuff is, you probably sit here thinking, yeah, whatever. No, it's very important. It gets you where you need to get to quicker. Do you want to get out of this rat race, the rat race of being a slave? Okay? Think of Pharaoh and the Israelites, the slaves. Okay? They are, that are working and don't have, shit to show for it. A rat race. And the divine help everyone to be able to come out of this and be healed, happy, and abundant. There's all kinds of different wealth. There's wisdom that is wealth. There's, there's all kinds of it. That's just an example. There's creativeness, there's art, there's all kinds of things. And when someone says that, that doesn't always mean what you think. There's acting is an art. Singing is an art. There's more than just, say, drawing, painting. There's people that make landscaping an art. Do you understand what I'm saying? There's all kind of creativeness out there, okay? All kinds of ways, but it's whatever your niche is that you're good. Everyone has abilities, but they have their own abilities, okay? And when you go through this process, you get to find out, about your abilities, what you're able to do, right? They've been running things in this world to keep us from knowing these things, to keep us disconnected from spirit, from God, so that we would still be under their control. These are people that have fear because they're in lack. That's why they don't. If you do not go through this process and heal, you're not going to be healed enough to hear, see, and know what you need to do and to have the wisdom to do it. They've done things to us to diminish our thinking processes. Anything and everything that they can do. Our memory processes. Just, they attack so that they can feel like they're safe in a world that they're controlling. Okay? So, that's the mindset that we're dealing with until they can get to that point. Or until they, it truly is about repentance. This isn't specifically about the Bible. It is and it isn't, okay? This is about having a relationship with Spirit, okay? If you do not have a relationship with Spirit, the Bible just has words. And you need to be able to see through everything to know what's being said, okay, and what's going on. If you are doing everything you can to hear from God and you're not able to hear it, that has to do with your chakra system, that you got to, fix it and heal it. Eating meat, stop eating meat and start hearing God, that's to hurt your chakras, to have you eating meat. Okay? It's still eating flesh. What is thou shalt not kill? Including animals. Thou shalt not kill. That puts negativity on you. Eating it puts negativity on you, and it introduces parasites into the gut biome. I don't think people want parasites. But they've lied to us that you couldn't get enough protein, blah, blah. There's nuts that have protein seeds. There's hemp seeds. There's chia seeds. There's flax seeds. There's all kinds of protein. They make it sound like you gotta have 50 shit tons of protein. No, you don't. They've lied to us about everything, about what we're supposed to have for food, what we're supposed to have for this, what we're supposed to have for that, da 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 da. They lied to us so that we're dependent upon their medical, the snake oil salesman. That's, it's a system built, out of greed and materialism and damn sure no compassion. So when you have gone through it, like at the bottom, and you're going against these forces and they're doing everything they can to take you out, where they set you up with nefarious people around you, where they're either working them or working the people around them to work you, you know what I mean? It's the kind of shit they do. They, about setting you up 24/7, having people come after you 24/7, relentlessly gang stalked by a shit ton of people in every way. Like every day, it just non-stop. You go through so much of it, I'm not really sure what word to put there. It's just, what else do they have? They've done the entire torture book, that they have, their arsenal or whatever. They run out of things to do. It's torturous to put someone through a life where they have no friends, no way for anyone to get in or close to them that's, say good people, because they keep putting, people that are controlled or bad people around, that's the way they do things. And they go after people, they go after bloodlines, they do these things at, certain families, certain people. It's, the Matrix. And the people inside of it that goes after people. They hack you, they hack your mind, they hack your body when they hack your mind. And, there's no firewall except for, Spirit, the Holy Spirit, God, there's nothing else. That's it. So, you may be one of these people that doesn't believe in God. You don't know if it's true, if it's real, what it is. Well, this is how you find out. This is mainly about, everyone getting healed. You want to heal in every way, then you heal the spiritual, the mind, all your chakra centers, gut intuition, well, that's a chakra center, If you learn and research these things, that's another reason that you need to research, is because It helps you to accept the truths that are being unveiled. You need to learn this stuff, go through it. We only go through this once, and we don't have to go through this anymore. But this is to save people, save lives, save people's families. You know, this is hopefully to keep people from leaving and not coming back. You know, we do die and come back, but then there comes a certain point that we're not allowed to anymore. That's the reason that there's this push for, you know, for God, for spirituality. God is nature, not religion. Satan made up religion to confuse the people. You know, to get them arguing, you know, with each other that their way is right. Well, your way might be right for you. Everyone has a different path. So this person's path, you can't follow their path because you have your own path. Could you imagine trying to steal someone else's path, and your path might be bigger than that you're trying to steal? That makes no sense. This is not worrying about where someone else is. Okay, this is about every single one worrying about themselves in their own lane and learning what they need to learn. Okay? I mean, imagine going through life but not being able to get love, you know? It's like hordes of people keeping someone from receiving any kind of love. Like, that's really rather insane, but that's what they wanted to do. For some reason, they just thought, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. I guess they thought that's when everything changed. This is about learning to heal and love yourself, that you take care of yourself the way that you want to be treated. Okay? Like you're setting the example for anyone else to treat you proper. You know? Source, universe, the divine, whatever, you know, God, however you want to put it. Because I may put it, you know, several different ways. But what you put out there is what comes back. So, like, if I'm treating myself good, taking care of myself, that doesn't mean being selfish. Treating myself good, taking care of myself. How would I want others to treat me? Those kind of things. If you're doing that, and you're loving yourself, doing the best you can to take the best care of yourself that you can, that's magnetizing, you know, and bringing that into you, what it is you want. This isn't, we have people out there that think that if they force people to treat them the way they want to be treated, that that's what they're going to get. That's an illusion. Okay? So literally how you treat, you know, how are you treating yourself? Are you taking care of yourself? Are you doing everything that you need to be doing? That's what's going to help bring in manifestations. Are you staying in your lane? Are you worrying about someone else's lane? You know, what they're doing? All those kind of things. You can follow someone spiritually. You can be spiritually led by people without, how can I put it? I mean, you can do that just watching YouTube, you know? You do it when you watch a preacher or a pastor or whatever. It's, sorry about bumping the table. This chair's a little bit taller than the table. Or barely. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm having a hard time with trying to say it here. Like, you're not always like, like first name basis with, someone that you're learning from, spiritually learning from, right? They can be someone that's, on YouTube, on TV, wherever. That's my point. You don't have to personally know them in order to learn or follow them everywhere that they go in order to gain their wisdom. That's not how that works. You have to get your own wisdom for your own path. Okay? So you take your own route. And understand that you have a route, they have a route. It's all different. There's no getting jealous or any of that stuff, because everything is fine. When you go on your path, you're going to start seeing it, okay? And then you're going to be like mad at yourself. Why did I waste all this time going through this? Why did I? Just let it go and keep moving forward. Everyone's path is different, and it's according to you, your family, your everything. And when you go through all this stuff, you're going to be like, oh, I love this. It's because you're healing, so you can't, how can I put it, see the other side of it, It's like you're looking at it with a half lens, and you can't see the other half of the lens. It's like you're gaining vision. Your vision's starting to get clearer, okay? But it takes time until it's all the way clear. And then you see crystal clear, and then you're like, oh my God, how did I not see that? A lot of it's like that. It's things you aren't able to see or understand or comprehend until you are able to. Your brain has been through things that have injured it, even trauma, injures, okay? So you go through the healing, right? So that you can then see. It's like, an injured brain can't see everything it needs to see until it's healed. When it's healed, then it can see everything it needs to see and can fully comprehend it. That's really what we're dealing with here. Is, somewhere this started that people were, like hurting each other, and it was probably more out of to keep hidden, what they've done or what someone in the family did that was, put down the family line, and they were still having problems with, okay? Whatever the case may be, the point of the matter is to choose to heal, because you don't just heal, you have to choose it. And repent. This is something that you speak with spirit, okay? You speak out loud, but when you're alone, when it's just you and spirit, okay? And you practice at it. This is not something that you just do it once and it works flawlessly. No, it takes time. It's like learning to play an instrument. It would take a lot of time, and it's you, and it's your chakras being healed, and spirit. It's literally you're walking up that ladder to go meet God, to go up to the mountain. And to learn what you need to learn. Some people think, well, I already learned everything I need to learn from God. Man, we don't ever stop learning. It doesn't just stop, you keep going. And look, this isn't look at other people, see where they're at to compare it to where you're at. This is no comparison to anyone else. This is about waking people up so that they can see that there's something more, way more, and that there's been people that have been out to stop it and, keep this, these kind of things from coming out, because then they won't have this hold on the world that they, so desperately need and desire. I mean, fake news media, how much can you trust of what they put out there? I mean, when have they given you the truth that you're sure of? when they have an addiction to materialism and money, it's about greed and, whatever it was that they were taught, when they grew up. Children only know what they're taught when they're growing up. They don't know anything else other than what they're taught. This is about healing and being able to heal all of that. Anything that ever happened to us as kids and our families before that, on down the line. Okay? And it's a very, very, very rough process to come back from brain damage. That's what these people did to me, and they do it to other people. Okay? I've pointed out numerous times that movie Paycheck, if you watch, it's like the first, 17 to 20 minutes, somewhere in that range, where they talk about, where the dude's talking to, I can't remember the guy's name, but he says something to him about barbarically melting the brain, and I'm like, oh my God. They have things in the movies, like the neuralizer in Men in Black, that has to do with memory loss. Why so much memory loss in the movies, y'all? Really? Because a lot of us are dealing with that. But, yeah, they're about doing what they can so that we're unaware of what's going on. That's how they, put us to sleep, and we don't really even know it. It's nothing to be scared about, y'all. It's just a matter of waking up, your soul waking up, and, learning about this so that you can get on the healing process and completely change your world, your life. You can learn how to magnetize and bring in what it is that you actually truly desire, not something that the world has programmed you to believe that you need. Because, tell, lie, vision. Tell lies to your vision. That's what they like to use it for, okay? When you watch commercials, do you feel you're getting 100% true? Okay? So, tell, lie, vision. Tell lies to your vision. Channeling, and programs, because they're programming people with those programs. They're programming people with school. They're no matter what. Where does this information come from? Who decides? Well, how do you know that they're the smartest? You see my point? If people are doing their own thing, then you have people that are thinking outside the box. That's how you get smarter people. But to have everyone do the same cookie cutter thing, you're not going to have that. That's, assembly line. It's like, let's put the people through an assembly line and they'll roll out as, like their cars or something going to roll out. You know what I mean? They do everything that way. Like an assembly line, which is strange. It's a very mechanical way to do everything, a slave mentality way to have slaves. Okay? But I've been through so much stuff, you probably wouldn't believe it. Maybe not. I don't know. Because it's hard for me to know, because like I grew up alone. I knew people, but even when I was around them, I was alone, because it was always these people they were sending to be around me, to get information on me and stuff like that. So, I would just, I don't know, it's like you had to learn how to get along, hang around with people without ever telling them anything real, because they were just looking for a way to hurt. Their game was to look for ways to hurt me and betray me. I didn't do anything to them. I'm like, what is the deal? But, I don't know, they were paid to do things. Um, and some people, they can be paid to do things and they'll do it, but you have to know what you're doing because you could be incurring more karma, you know? Karma never loses an address. So you want to know fully what you're doing, what's involved, and, can you trust the people behind it? When you go through this ascension process, you really get to see who's for you and who's not for you. You get to see people's true character, which helps you in discernment so that you're not easily fooled. And that's the kind of way that we need to be, so that we don't have people pulling the wool over our eyes and and having a way to hurt anyone anymore. It's how we change everything. I've had people do black magic, voodoo, witchcraft. I didn't even know that stuff, was like real or anything. But I've been in numerous car accidents. I've never hit anyone. It's because they were doing all these spells. Thank God I'm not in accidents anymore. But I've had all kinds of injuries. I've had multiple head injuries. I've had a coffee table. The whole corner of it went right in my temple. I've also fallen off a high dive, swallowed my tongue, fractured my skull. I've been in 10 car accidents, but I never hit anyone. That was people that hit me, or I was riding with someone that was in an accident. I've been through so much. It's actually hard for me to remember. I've died multiple times, over and over and over. And when I say that, I mean, literally died and came back. Died and came back. There's one day that I bled out. Four times I died in the hospital. I don't know about, I had to go from one hospital to another one. There was just a whole lot of stuff that went on that was quite the ordeal. I've been through a lot. A lot. I've been poisoned. They've been poisoning me like my whole life. A lot abuse. That, what do they call it? Satanic ritual abuse. Been a lot of it. And they like to have, you got the whole fake news thing going on, but they like to have their fake narratives out there. Who this is, this person did this person this. But then when you find out, it was all bullshit. They put up a fake narrative so that when the story comes out, that it'll be hard for you to accept the truth because you've been lied to so long and you've been believing what they've been telling you because you didn't get to see anything else, But they've been purposefully keeping people from knowing because they're protecting, who they feel they need to protect. But yeah, I've got quite a story, and I was literally taken by who is the actual real Manson. The actual Manson that you were told is Manson's not Manson, even though there's that name. Epstein, no, that happens to be my uncle. The Manson, that happens to be my uncle, who I was told was my dad, who's not my dad. My aunt, turns out, is actually my mother and not my aunt. Weird shit like that. That these people, they stole. My grandparents left inheritance to me. They stole it all. Home, land, They steal it all. There was anything, they just didn't want me to have it. It could have been, could have been a bucket of bolts, and they would have stolen it just because they didn't want me to have it. It's, I don't know, I don't get it. But we have some people that are like that. They don't know nothing about their own lane. They just know about getting in everyone else's lane to drive their vehicles and tell them what to do. If they would just focus on themselves, get themselves healed, they wouldn't be so far behind everyone else. You know? But, yeah, just some people are like that. They just look for diabolical ways to hurt people, to gang stalk people, and they're like trying to, make me self off or something like that, but I would never do that. That's just, a person that died, this was in the hospital. I was dying 4 times in the hospital, and they were blown away that I came back after that. They were just blown away. Someone that, is in, the frame of, self-offing or whatever, they're not going to fight like that. They're not going to fight at all. But, that's all they have on their mind, is they just want to cause like death so they can get money, because it's like they have insurance, a life insurance out on me. I mean, and they're doing everything they can, their dead level best to get it, because they can't see any other way out. But you can't do this to people. This isn't, forget the 10 Commandments, just go do what you want, and then go around and act all religious-y. Yeah, that's not going to work out. Not at all. But, you can go through the worst shit in life, but it's up to you and what you choose. If people are poisoning you and drugging you, I mean, that's the point of choosing this, because you don't know until you go through this process, until you find out what happened, where, when. But at least you'll find out. You won't be sitting there you won't be sitting there in the dark. This is the whole point of this, so you can find out what did happen. What is your particular case? What happened with you? There's all kinds of things that you can learn and find out about, but you cannot go through life without having God or having the spiritual. And a lot of people may have that and just don't realize they have it. It's literally I didn't know the abilities I had, but of course they were keeping it from me. They were like hiding it from me. But you wake up and you get back online and like Ethernet. So, but you get back online where you are hearing back and forth, you and spirit. And you get back into, the way it was meant to be, the way it used to be, whatever the case may be. But you'll realize what you've been missing, Instead of you looking all over the world for something and don't know what you're missing, you take this path and you find out what you've been missing all along, But, or you can just go to, them fancy doctors, pay shit tons of money and get a pill that's nothing but a Band-Aid, because, all they want is your money. They'll tell you anything you want to hear. What do you want? Do you want to have that personal relationship with the divine, the spiritual? Every question you have, you can go to the divine and find out, but you're going to have to learn how to have patience and do meditation. You don't have to sit in a certain pose. Get comfortable, and start out small. Just, start out with 12 minutes the first time you meditate. You work at this, you practice. It's like learning to play a very quiet and peaceful instrument that It takes practice. You work at it, you know. You get frustrated. Well, I get it, but go vent to God, you know. Trust me, I know. I know all about it. You get real frustrated because these people will do everything they can to put you in this like reactive abuse. I don't know what you want to call it. They put you through so much reactive abuse that you're just like in defense mode. You just feel like you got to defend yourself. But they do it so much. It's all on their, effort to try to say, oh, well, this person's crazy, this person's crazy, da 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 da. Because they're just looking to get rid of people. Oh, well, you're in my way of me doing this, agenda or whatever it is that these people think of. But they're looking to get people out of the way that are blocking their agendas. That's what they use all these places that they have to lock people up for. They're looking to get the, this group here is looking to get rid of all these people, and this group over here, We already have rules from God. The sin is the restriction. So if we get rid of all these really shitty laws, that they can just take their pick which one they want to use and to get who they want. We're supposed to be under God's laws. It's God's laws, not man's laws. Okay? We're not supposed to kill. You're not allowed to rape someone. You're not allowed to molest someone. You're not allowed to do something against someone else's will. Okay? You're not allowed to steal someone else's money, sit here and melt someone's brain so that you can sit there and say, see, they're incompetent. I'm going to be their conservator or whatever that shit is. You don't have the right to do that. You have no right to do that. But that's what these people do because all they care about is money. They need to pay back what they owe. They don't really seem to grasp how bad this can get. This can get so bad that they would, they'd be crying, begging, doing anything at all to not go the way that they're making it go. And I'm talking about these ones that have done like this, these horrible, horrible things, molestation and horrific things. I have been slandered. I have been slandered like, I'm not quite sure how to explain that to you, horrifically, in every way possible that these people could think of to everyone in order to give me a bad name. But it's up to everyone to research something themselves instead of, listening to gossip. Gossip, slander, bearing false witness. It's all pretty bad to do. But it's each person's job to, learn the discernment, learn what they need to learn so that they can see things with, clear vision. And, find out for themselves. Okay, this person's saying this about this person, but I don't know this person. Shouldn't I get to know or find out, or you know what I mean? Instead of having everyone else tell you how to feel, make up your mind for you, right? So be careful when people are saying something about someone. You've got to use discernment. But if you're, it depends on where you're at. You can sit here and tell people about ascension, but it's like, they're like, what? People can be very into that world, okay? Where they don't know that there's, something going on. Or if they do, they kind of heard about it, but, they just haven't heard enough about it. So they don't realize what's really going on until it's really out there. And they find out, things that are going on. There's been a lot of stuff behind the scenes, and what's been going on, and the kind of things that these people do. Because, I'm talking about Freemasons, Eastern Stars, Illuminati, all that stuff. That's why that's been like the hot topic, because they're out to make it so that when people's real stories come out, that people won't believe it, and da 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 da, because they're that afraid. They're that afraid that they're not going to have money, that they're not going to have food, that they're not going to have anything. But these are the ones that have been making all the rest of us go through that. They're afraid of their karma coming to them. And it'd be better that they would hurry up and go through it and heal, so they don't have to, go through it so bad. The time is shortened for the elect in the sense that they don't have to go through so much. The ones that don't choose correctly, they go through a lot more until something makes them come out of it. It seems to, take pain to wake us up. Make us wake up and start moving in the right direction. But it's literally a choice, and people are choosing whether they realize it or not. There are people that are asleep and hadn't woke up yet. There are people that have woken up and are still waking up. There's people in various stages of this. When I first started hearing about this, I was looking at it weird too. I was like, what the hell are these people talking about? But it intrigued me, so I went to learn more. I listen to all kinds of different people, just, looking for truth. That has been my main focus my entire life. It's like, I don't explain. It's just you're looking for truth. It's like you just know you're being lied to, so the only thing that you love and you're looking for is truth. And that's what it was for me. But I wanted to just kind of, give an introduction to my story. And I've talked about it in these videos that I've done, which, the further back you go, I'm definitely different. You know what I mean? Because they put me through a lot, and they kept poisoning me all the time and making my words twist around, which makes it really difficult. Because they do that. They'll do something. I don't know what it is they put in there, but it makes you completely flip around from where you were. Like they invert you to what you were. So, yeah, they're little magic potions of, feeding you, who knows, arsenic and all the other poisons and, drugs or, rohypnol or whatever the fuck. They're doing something with the memory loss. Yeah, I don't want to make this too long. But they definitely, they use something and they give it to people and they have no idea that something has even occurred. So I'm telling everybody because I want people to be careful and choose, to heal so that you can come under, Psalms 91, come under the shadow and the protection. Become under the protection of the shadow of the Almighty. Okay, that's what Psalms 91, paraphrasing it, says. But you have to do that. You have to literally come under the shadow, and by, meditation, listening to that still small voice. That's what you've got to learn to do, and that's, it's like training to become a Jedi. You're learning to sit still and hear. And learning how to, have that relationship back and forth. And it'll change your life. Oh, that's such a horrible thing to tell people something can change their life, heal them, and then they can have abundance. What am I thinking? What a horrible thing to do. You see my point? It's like, I don't know. I would think a lot of people want to hear about it. Life changing, world changing. Just, I want to see a world that we don't have all this pain and this sorrow and all these horrible things going on. I mean, could you imagine what would it be like if you turned on, say the TV and there was just good news everywhere? Think of how much that alone would change the world. If we have good news, good vibes, and positivity around there, it changes the world, right? And the people who are not in the good and the positive and all this stuff, well, if they see that they can change and move that way, don't you think they would? No one wants to stay in misery, right? It's time to make a change. We didn't think what happened in 2020 was going to happen, but it did. My point being is choose to heal and change your life. Get out of the whole, bitter thing and, get away from the anger, the fear, the hate. A lot of times fear, it just shows up as anger, but it's really fear. But to get rid of all that and to not have baggage to carry around anymore, to not have pain to carry around anymore, just to feel light and free and happy. How many people would really like to feel that? And to have, a real relationship with nature where we learn to coexist with the animals. And no more of this, death. You know what I mean? It's doing everything you can to prevent death and give love and abundance instead of death, because isn't that what everyone else wants back? And I mean love is an unconditional love, caring about people and doing the right thing. Okay? Everyone wants it. Everyone wants to be cared about. So you have to learn self-love, learn to care about yourself and how to treat yourself correctly first before you can expect someone else to come in and do it. It's like you're showing the universe, this is how I like to be taken care of. It's just like that. And that's basically what you're doing to manifest, is showing the universe, okay, this is what I would like. Manifestation doesn't have to be that hard. But we have people that are fighting it, trying to keep other people from getting it, instead of them turning around and realizing, oh shit, you mean I can do this myself? Kind of like that. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense to go after someone else and what they have when you have your own. But you have to go through the work. It's like, the yoke of Satan is way more work. But with God, it's like hardly any work. It's just the people that are the ones that are in fear, trying to do everything they can to stop it. If they would have just, concentrated on themselves, how much further would they be already? But it's just the point that I'm making, that if everyone were to get in their own lane and barrel down on this healing process, this would change everything for everyone so quick, And I'm not saying this moves in lightning speed, but the more people that know this, that can help other people to know this, to help other people to know this, so on, so on, so on, it moves quickly, that way. But I just keep thinking about how wonderful it'll be for everything to be changed. For people to be able to really see that this works. People see that changes everything. I like to see people know that there is another way, that there are other ways. You know what I mean? But it's your path alone, because you're taking that path with the divine, and you're learning them, they're learning you. That's literally what it is. That is your twin flame, kingdom marriage, kingdom partner, da 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 da. That is truly what it is. It's you having that relationship with the divine. The divine learns you, you learn the divine. Okay? And then you move on to everything else. But that's that relationship that you're bonding and learning, and then you're able to move forward. That is what makes you so magnetic and able to bring in what it is that you're manifesting. And as you go through this process and you're waking up, well, then things kind of change, because it changed because you went under this process that was putting you to sleep, basically, like your soul to sleep, or putting you in amnesia, if I can say it. So, you know, it can kind of change when you're coming out of this, because you may see things more clearly. And it's kind of hard to explain that when you're able to see things more clearly. And I don't know, I'm not sure how to put it, because it's like trying to convey to someone how it feels to have been through all this and have finally gotten to this point. It's kind of surreal, you know? Like, to go through so much to the point that you feel like it was never going to stop. And now you're just kind of like, wow, you know? It is very surreal. I've been through this a lot for so long, it is just kind of that way, surreal, it's weird, I really don't know how to put that into words, not yet anyway, but, yeah, I've got to hurry and finish this, because if it gets to an hour, I can't post it on, what's it called, TikTok. And by the way, my channel is Expect the Unexpected. On YouTube, it's spelled XPECT. It doesn't have the E on the beginning, because when you put in Expect the Unexpected, so much comes up. So that's why I did it that way. But that's on YouTube, okay? But I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up, because we're almost there to an hour. I certainly did not mean for it to go this long, but it is what it is. Yeah, it's hard, because a lot of this stuff, it's hard to put it into, or well, it's hard to find the right words, you know, and how to explain it and stuff, but I do the best that I can, y'all. After everything I've been through, yeah, I'm doing the best that I can, but you can come back, you know, from all kinds of things, so don't believe what, you know, people tell you or doctors tell you. You can't do this, you can't do that. Bullshit. Bullshit. Does it not say anything is possible with God? Well, keep that in mind. Keep that always in mind. All right, y'all. Take care. God bless.